Hello, this is Diego Saldivar, a Neurogames developer, and I have not so much an update as much as it is a small little test that I wanted to share with you guys. I made this quick prototype as a way to prove a point. Yes, I can make a Neurogame in Unreal Engine. However, we don't have enough technical support for this to be able to ship and be distributed to other people. So unless we get some real support from neurotech companies, such as, for instance, Neurosity or what have you, Muse, we won't be able to publish Neurogames on a whim. But I mean, it still works, and I wanted to show it to you. I also showed it to some friends and colleagues, and I got all kinds of feedback. One that really struck me was this game is not really funny. Maybe make these guys explode or use telekinesis to throw them around like this was Goat Simulator or something. But I decided to go a little bit more light here. I just introduced the joke from Portal. If you haven't played Portal, I highly recommend it. It's 16 years old, and GLaDOS is still the best antagonist I've ever had to go against. Also, there's no spoilers here. It's more of an Easter egg. In the end, there will be cake. It says GLaDOS, basically. Now, here, the first door was supposed to be a door where you concentrate, relax, and then it just goes up. But since it's not always easy to relax, I started with a door that requires the complete opposite. You can see my calm and focus scores on the lower left, and above 0.4 we know that yes, you're focusing, yes, you're calm, right? But as you can see, I'm not calm, mainly because this is the third time I make this video. Number one. Number two, I'm speaking, and that of course lowers the score because I am not in almost a meditative state. I am in a proactive talking state. So anyway, I press B. Burn. Oh yeah, by the way, I would like to apologize to anyone who might not be able to see all of the colors of the wind, but I mapped the colors of these doors to the buttons in my controllers. So yeah. Anyway, the instructions should be clear enough. Now here we get the calm door. So let me see if I am calm enough to go through. Yeah, I am actually not calm enough, but I upped the multiplier for this demonstration. Yeah, because I multiply the calm score by a number in order to be able to make this door go up. But yeah, I knew that I would not be able to be in a meditative state for this demonstration. I kind of cheated a little bit, but I mean, I am the one who made the blueprints and the code, whatever. So here I have to focus, and the more I focus, the higher I go, so that I can avoid being electrocuted there. And here we have part of the Easter egg. The cake is a lie. Again, not a spoiler really. But yeah, if, for instance, here you were super clumsy, or you were like, oh yeah, I can just jump through these and landed on them anyway, yeah, you're gonna go back to the beginning with a bit of an instruction to focus. Anyway, the next door should be easier to go through. Unless I am so calm after first door, right? Burn, burn. And then we start getting a little bit of narrative. Not all doors lead somewhere, so you're in a maze. Careful. But I mean, in the end, actually all the doors lead somewhere because I wanted to really make the most out of what I had here. Or at least they don't lead somewhere specific, they just lead somewhere interesting. You'll see that there's also some sort of environmental narrative here and there. And burn. After burning down 2 doors and having to jump through all kinds of hoops. And then this person doesn't really talk to us on this. We are very, very close. So yeah, it is interesting to note that arriving to this point was a little bit painful, and I wanted to cake, and I wanted to really express that a little bit with these mannequins. I know it's a little bit existential and nihilist, but just a second. There we go. But the point is to showcase the technologies, right? So those of you who have been following me for quite a while may remember that that I have already made a game or a Neurogame template for Unreal Engine 5 2 years ago. That was for Unreal Engine 5.0.0. Now that I upgrade to 5.1.1, many things broke. As you can see, yes, we're in the literal corner of this maze, but also this robot avatar is a little bit more modern than the previous one. And that means that it has a different armature. The input system changed completely. So some of the processes for only the menus broke, which is why I could not use my initial scene where you are welcomed and told what to do and how to log in, etc., etc. So I had to do a little bit of a workaround to be able to start playing here. Speaking of workarounds, so yeah, it was interesting to see how much I had kind of missed because I concentrated on using the crown for Unity, which is the only platform where I can actually export or build games for PC, mobile, and VR. And it works out of the box. Stop thinking about it. So yeah, and this maze idea actually was given to me by a fellow colleague at North University College. Thank you, Dr. Gélan. He was like, "Oh yeah, I wish I could use my mind to go around the maze and levitate objects like using the Force." Yeah, here we have a little bit more environmental narrative, where yeah, it's kind of difficult and kind of sus to get to this new stage to see if we can find the cake here. But there we go. But we didn't get the cake, right? Other people who I've shown this to on LinkedIn and on Discord, they're like, "Oh, I like the idea. I wish I could use, Fury to be able to become the Hulk." Which, I mean, it's something that could be done if I had enough time, because I made this in like 2 weekends. 1 weekend to repair all the things that were broken from one version to the next. Another weekend to quickly make this, because I was also doing some other work stuff. Now, as you can see, when I'm talking, there's so much noise and activity that sometimes I get almost like no calm, no focus. That's just to be expected. You're not supposed to be talking while using brain-computer interfaces. Most of them even hate it when you move around. This one is not as sensitive. There we go. As the emotive. For instance, using any emotive devices, if you move a little bit, they're just like, nah. You have very bad signal. Some others are much more permissive with any kind of muscular movement, because that generates noise. And they actually use muscular movement as an indicator, right? If you're closing your eyes or if you're moving your eyes left and right, that can be detected by the electromagnetic fluctuations as the muscles are pulled or let go by the nervous system. Oh yeah, this is just a small little joke where maybe they're not actually mannequins, maybe they're actors or something. Anyway, let's see what else. There we go. And as we are nearing the cake, we are getting oh, now I'm calm. There we go. A little bit more environmental narrative. I feel so tired after going around this maze. I mean, curiously enough, we're near the cake. Curious enough, it's not that tiring once you get the hang of it. So, I mean, this maze is a little bit small, yeah, but it was just there for testing purposes. Then I added a little bit of more techniques. A friend of mine told me, hey, can I make these guys burn up? Can I kind of use telekinesis to take the mannequins and then throw them around? There's so many things you could do, yes, but you have to, like any other game, you have to plan what your inputs are. It's not just the inputs here, but also the inputs here. And then how you're going to be using them as game mechanics. And then once you know that, what kinds of systems you need to implement so that these will work. If you just keep asking for more mechanics or more features, you're just gonna have a very hard time implementing them all, because you'll have to retroactively make them workable with what you have, etc., etc. That's a tip for my game students who are going to start studying level design with me tomorrow. Anyway, those of you who have played Portal know that the cake is not exactly a lie, but it's not exactly there for you either, right? It's more of a false incentive. And what GLaDOS actually wants you to do is to die. You're supposed to die. Here, yeah, I can get to the cake, but I cannot really eat it. And I hope that you like foot-flavored cake, because if I go down to get a piece of it, I will just be going back to the beginning. Anyway, that is the little demo that I wanted to showcase today. Yeah, we can absolutely make something that's fun, if not funny, if we use a little bit of time and effort for it, just like any other game. Neurogames are not particularly difficult to make once you get significant information flowing immediately into your game engine. As you can see, I have calm and focus. It's just 2 metrics, but I can do so much with them. And if you just, this is a message for neurotechnology companies. Hey, give us a little bit of support. If we can connect whatever metrics you have with your neurotechnology, your brain-computer interface, right into game engine, we're flying. We don't need to be super duper precise. We're not trying to replace these controllers, you know. And those who can replace their entire control scheme with brain-computer interfaces are usually paralyzed people who have a chip implanted inside of their skull, which has much more information, which is far more precise, far more localized, which they can then use to be able to control a mouse on the screen. I know of one person who can actually play games like an MMORPG with their Utah array chip that they have inside of their brain. But for the rest of us who are dependent on like non-invasive brain-computer interfaces, we kind of need we need to disguise the fact that things are not super precise. They just have to be they just have to be the, they just have to scratch an itch, so to speak, right? They just need to make sure that, this means something or can mean something. Especially here, as you can see, the brain-computer interface is transmitting an average score of my calm and focus from all these electronic sensors, right? But I am not using that immediately unless I press a button telling the computer, yes, I want now to have my willpower be part of the game instead of having like all of the, let me see if I can press all the buttons at the same time. Instead of having all the mechanics moving all at the same time, which would be a bit more passive, I'm creating a much more active paradigm by allowing the player to say when they want to activate their brain power so that they get feedback on a much more relevant basis, right? And for instance, here, if I'm too far away, the door will not be taken into account, even if I am pressing the button right now, and I'm far away. But as soon as I'm close enough, 3 meters in this case, it will start taking that input into account, which I think it's a very small little difference, but it's important when it comes to user experience, to have an experience that feels significant, because that's the thing about gaming. Gaming gives you immediate and constant feedback. You don't have to play for 10 hours and then be able to see your report afterwards, as many companies usually do. That's called passive BCI, passive brain-computer interface. You just tell the player or the athlete or the whatever afterwards how they fared when it comes to concentration, and then you coach them and you brief them, etc., etc. But a game gives you immediate feedback. Yes, you're not calm enough, just calm down, stop speaking, Diego, just come on, right? Or for instance, oh yeah, you suck at jumping, so please focus, you do this. Anyway, as I was saying, this is the end of the demo, and that's also my thoughts on the state of the art and how the industry of neurogames is faring right now. I think that it will become much better later on, especially because this year I have talked about 3 people who are interested in actually supporting gaming platforms with neurotechnology for the larger market, the larger consumer market. That's to say, you who are watching this video. Not just researchers, not just governments or companies. Anyone who wants to play can or should be able to play with these new neurogaming startups. Well, yeah, it's more of a neurotechnology startups. But in the meantime, this is what we have, which is something, I guess. And as the year goes on, you should expect more news about these new devices, which are starting to, or should start to, connect directly to game engines, whether it is Unity or Unreal. As soon as I have something to showcase, because I might have a couple things to showcase this year about that, I will be posting a video on YouTube, of course. Otherwise, I think I'll continue working with the devices I have already shown. Hopefully I can break the barrier of entry for anyone to be able to play neurogames or develop neurogames. And with that, I thank you very much for your time, for your patience. And I also am very open to any kinds of commentary about, hey, this could be funnier if you do this, or hey, I would like you to use these mechanics instead. Can you demonstrate a horror neurogame by using a sanity meter, let's say? Of course, I may not have the time to do that immediately, but I might be able to use your suggestions for the next video. So thank you very much, and I will be seeing you around. Goodbye!